field, and I think he's proven to do that. And we don't see Maddox as a guy that can't pull it and run it. So I think what that balance looks like is something exciting and part of what we got to get done.
Given the transfer portal and just this new era of college football, how do you weigh what's best for the team right now with a decision that you make now for Saturday could impact the next year or two for this team?
Yeah, I think you got to make the decision about winning right now. And I think ultimately, look, there's a lot of trust and respect, and I hope everybody in that quarterback room feels the same way, that it's authentic, it's genuine, and but I think Taylor would understand as well. And we had a great conversation yesterday. Like Maddox is playing at a high level. Again, we're not saying it's going to be one way or another. And again, he's doing he does some things that you guys know that not a lot of quarterbacks in the country can do. And speaking of Taylor, and so we're just at the standpoint right now. We've got to do what's best in our minds to go win football games, and we think utilizing both of them is that.
You guys have talked. You guys have taught you, Andy, just keep raving about how good Maddox was, and the dude looks so poised in every game. The stats are there, the confidence is there. There's a lot of people kind of wondering, like, what's the point of doing this two quarterback thing? Why not just let Maddox go out there and let him rip? What's kind of the rebuttal to that?
Yeah, I think just you look at what Taylor's done in confidence, and his athleticism and the plays he's been able to make. That's not something we're just ready to say, hey, we're letting that part of the game drop. The reality of the situation is, you guys know the strength of our run game and what that poses. The ability for us to use the quarterback run game, balance it out, get guys in the box, take shots downfield, are all things that we feel Taylor's done a really good job doing, and making those kind of plays. We also think, you get into a game maybe like last week where you get more negative plays on first down, and you're in second and long situations, or you're in third and longer situations. Right now, Maddox has the better feel in drop back pass type situations. So that's really what it comes down to. It's in a unique way, just like you might not keep an extra receiver on the bench who can make plays for you too. That's the situation we're at the quarterback position. And again, guys, like looking at the numbers, right? The 68% completion percentage from Maddox and the 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Looking at what Taylor's done, the ability to run and make plays and extend plays for us. We got to utilize both of them.
Andy said that you guys haven't exactly yet decided exactly how much time each will get. What do you look for in terms of both from practice this week to make that decision?
Yeah, I think it's just overall comfort in the game plan. I mean, I don't think it can be like this 50-50 split, and maybe you find yourself like there's no rhythm, if you will, right? There's not an identity. So again, through the week, trying to figure out what that looks like. Again, figuring out for each guy what they do well, what they're going to manage well, and make sure we're complementary when both guys are in.
You were talking
when Taylor holds on to the ball or has more than 2.5 seconds to throw. Completion percentage is like 43%, no touchdowns, 3 picks. Lots of times when quarterbacks have time, that actually is a benefit for them. So why do you feel like that's an area he might kind of struggle in, I guess?
Yeah, not totally sure. I think it always comes down to the decision-making part of it. And look, I mean, I think, do I need to give him more opportunities in the drop-back game, those kind of things to balance it out? Maybe, but I just, it goes back to, again, these games and how tight they are, taking care of the football. I think a huge positive has been, you look at the course of the last, take the North Dakota game out of it, no turnovers against both San Diego State, no turnovers versus Memphis. And so I think those are all factors into it. We got to take the next step, certainly in a drop-back pass game and throwing the ball downfield, and I think we all know that.
How would you assess Taylor's in-game confidence right now, and how do you coach that in practice?
Probably just okay. Again, I think confidence at the quarterback position, it certainly starts with yourself. And there's times where you got to believe sometimes when the outside noise isn't there. And he's a guy that's done it at a high level. And I think that's probably the beautiful part about being a quarterback at this level of football is sometimes it's easy when things are going well, and when maybe things aren't, you find out who you are. And I think that guy's answered the bell over and over and over again. But as you know, it just takes a couple throws here, takes a couple big plays there, and you're kind of right back on track. So I think it's everything we've been training for from a mental standpoint, the acceptance of what this thing could look like, and we're excited about him and looking forward to watching him on Saturday.
In terms of the practice reps, Andy said a typical week was 80-20 between the two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this week is going to be different. You said something about 50-50. Do you envision Maddox getting more number one reps this week?
I wouldn't say more, but I definitely think it's going to be more than he's gotten. And I do think from a practice rep standpoint, it will be closer to that 50-50 number. And again, you guys know the situation. We talk about the job Maddox has done. He's done that with taking very little reps during the week. So I applaud him for that. You certainly are looking at your starter and making sure he's getting, hey, the play we ran in the game versus 2 or 3 different looks. Maddox has kind of done what he's done, barely even getting some of those plays repped. So we'll get that thing closer to probably 50-50 and see where it goes.
How much Maddox in terms of when he gets the ball out on time? And we saw on the play with Billy too, where he had space to run after the catch as well when that happens. And how good is Maddox at throwing kind of that space versus having that eye contact with the receiver? I guess. Yeah,
he's got a really good feel for the pass game. I think it shows up. I think the 2 most impressive plays for him, there was a 1st and 15 in the red zone. We had called a drop back on 1st down, and they were extremely soft. He found Ashton underneath. Ashton made the touchdown yards after catch there. And I think the second one was a similar concept that we're talking about, but he actually just got the ball to the back right away. And I think it's that mixture, if you will, of knowing when to push the ball down the field, but also just the feel of when they're soft, you're throwing the ball to a running back right now that's one of the best guys in the country at creating yards, and I think he's got a good understanding of that.
I'm sure not the easiest news for Taylor to digest. How has he handled it all?
He's a stud. I mean, I think you guys know that man. And I know it's a hard conversation with him. It was a hard conversation probably with his dad, and I think it starts there. I mean, there's no blaming, there's no complaining. Obviously, it's not something any everyday starter wants to hear, but that guy's 3,000% about the right things, and you guys know that. And I think a critical thing for him too is like, he's playing on Saturday, man. He's going out there and he's got to be ready to roll, and he will. But obviously, it's never just easy news to hear that somebody else is taking some reps too.
The 4th and 1's getting a lot of attention, because of the blocked field goal. That obviously was a big play in the game. Andy said you guys didn't get the look you liked, and then called timeout. I mean, I don't know a ton about football, but why not just change the play, I guess, there at that point after you don't get the look you wanted? And what kind of went into that decision there on the coaching staff to kick it there?
Yeah, just a lot of factors. Again, we thought we make that field goal within 1 point. In some ways, right? If that is the case and the rest of the game plays out how it plays out, you end up winning that game. And so, those are critical decisions. Again, we're looking at those things as well, and on my part too, to be decisive and make sure we have a call that we're ready to go with.
Do you guys practice a QB sneak?
We do. We do.
What is we see it with the Eagles all the time.
Yeah.
Hurts just goes in 1 yard, someone kind of pushes him from behind. Why can't you use that on every 1 yard to gain?
Yeah, I think you certainly try to mix it up because the defenses can overplay for that. Again, you just look at the mass of defensive inside and playing that. The unfortunate thing for us was, we always talk about winning the pre-snap. You look at that first drive, there was a huge emphasis on starting fast. We go to run the quarterback sneak, there's a false start. So I think that just comes down to details, right, of us. I know 3rd down execution is going to get brought up, and that can look a lot different if we were better in that area.
You guys had the 1st and goal from the 1 too, and had to settle for the field goal there. I mean, I guess how obvious answer, but how big was that in the game too? Not being able to put that in.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, I think again, I know we say it every week, but it comes down to 3 situations, and certainly not coming away with 7 points in that drive hurt us, and so that's what it is.
So it seems like a lot of Taylor's success throwing the ball has kind of been outside the numbers, not super efficient, kind of between the numbers, between the hashes. If you look at Maddox, it's like a lot of his success is come. Why did maybe it is just how you guys approach it with each of the different quarterbacks. But why does one have success there, maybe one doesn't? I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think as you guys know, the ability to manage the pocket, the ability to play inside the pocket probably allows you to hit more inside throws, if that makes sense. You know, and I think, again, whether right or wrong, we certainly with TG have been looking for more one-on-one matchups on the outside. Create max protection, if you will, to just create easy throws out there. And so it's just interesting, you know, because we again, they're complementary players. TG's been able to make a lot of those one-on-one throws on the outside. Maddox's probably worst rep of the game was a max protection outside throw, and he kind of set it. And so it's that mixture, but there's no escaping it, right? At the quarterback position, the ability to be in short, confined space, be accurate, allows you to make some of those throws inside.
The decision to go to the two QBs and play them both moving forward here. I mean, we saw even on the third drive last week you guys did. I mean, you're pushing for this. Is this Andy's decision? How is this kind of who decided this is what's best?
I think it's all of us, you know, and trying to figure this thing out. Again, I just go back to, do we think there's a winning formula with playing one guy? Absolutely. But when another guy has taken 10% practice reps and gone out there in UCF, and we're not talking about situations that he's gone out there in the fourth quarter against backups. You know, we needed him to go in and win us the UCF game, and he went out there and put a big time drive together and created momentum there. Talk about what he did obviously in this last game. I mean, scoring 2 touchdowns and however long that was, total complete control of it. So again, each guy brings something to the table right now, and they both deserve to play, and it's really as simple as that.
In terms of this Saturday, it sounds like you have a plan to use both quarterbacks. Specifically asking now is there a plan? Who's going to start? Is Taylor going to start? Is Maddox going to come in planned? Is there a possibility that Maddox starts, or is all that going to be predicated on what happens in practice this week?
I'd say probably, predicated in practice this week, Mike. And I'm just trying to be as honest with you as possible. This isn't something that's just a quick decision on Sunday, and we're like, this is exactly what it's going to look like. Again, the good thing about this, in our opinion, is some plays in the plan might be tailored to one guy more than the other, but I don't see this as there's plays in the game plan that Talon can't operate or that Mad Dog can't operate. And so I think that's the unique thing, is they'll both be receiving the full playbook, and what they do with that's obviously up to us.
You were saying that
you guys, got Matt Lauder involved in the pass game, and Andy, it sounded like, you get Riley back this week. Do you kind of anticipate kind of keeping the tight ends involved in the pass game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that was, again, one of those off of play action, one of TG's best reps of the day, throwing that seam ball to Matt for the explosive play. As we look at the whole offense in general, I mean, I think you got to put Matt up there as one of the guys that's continuing to just improve and show what he's all about. And when that happens, those kind of guys get more touches.
you were talking about trying to find the best spots for these guys, and kind of said Maddox, hey, maybe on third down he's the guy. Do you anticipate that the two guys could play on like the same drive, or are you going to give them one drive like that?
Yeah, I think I certainly think they could play on the same drive. And again, what it exactly looks like, we're taking these practice days to see exactly, but I probably don't necessarily see it as a, hey, this guy's going this drive, that guy's going that drive. They'll both have to be ready at all times, and we got to utilize them in that way.
How big? I felt like Billy Bowens removed the weight of the world from his shoulders there with a couple of those fourth quarter catches. How encouraging was that for a guy that's been here for a long time? And he's got off to obviously a tough start this year. Yeah,
nobody deserves it more than him. He's a guy that is part of our leadership council. He's one of the most mature players I've been around, and I think sometimes that's all it takes. Is making that one big play to just get you back in rhythm. We're super excited for what he did in that game, and looking forward to watching him play.
What do you see from San Jose State's defense?
Certainly a group that has done an extraordinary job against the teams they played. I mean, I think you look at it on the back end. I want to say they're number 2 in conference in stopping the pass, and that's after going against USC, Oregon State, Toledo, some high-powered offenses. So they do a great job at keeping things in front of them, not really allowing for big explosive plays down the field. And I'm certainly impressed with their front. So I think they play extremely well complementary, and it's going to be critical for us with all this going about who's playing at the quarterback position, right? How all that of, hey, what's our identity? And it starts with being physical up front and controlling the line of scrimmage.
Was that Ashton Genty's most physical game he's played this year? I mean, he did not have a lot of, it wasn't like last week. I mean, he didn't have a lot of space on a lot of those runs.
Yeah, I think he continues to step up and play at an extremely high level, and it's hard to say was that his most physical, as you guys know, just because of some of the runs in that, that San Diego State game, what he's done across the year and against really good opponents. So consistency is critical there, and he has shown up every week.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bo.